Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Let's get real. You trusted them, leaned on them, and believed they cared for you as much as you did for them. But now, things feel different. Confusion clouds your mind, and you're walking on eggshells, constantly second-guessing yourself, wondering, is it me? Am I the problem? At first, everything seemed wonderful. They were kind, attentive, and genuinely seemed to understand you. They made you feel seen, heard, and valued. But over time, subtle shifts started happening. Maybe their once consistent kindness now feels conditional, their warmth turning cold without warning. You notice moments where their words don't match their actions, leaving you doubting your perception of reality. Toxic relationships are like invisible traps. They don't announce themselves with sirens or flashing red lights. Instead, they sneak in, disguised in apologies that never lead to change, or promises that fade into the same old patterns. It's not always easy to recognize what's happening, especially when love blurs your judgment. We want to believe the best in people, especially those we care for. But sometimes that belief is exploited. Here's the hard truth. Some people know how to manipulate others, and they do it intentionally. Dark psychology, a field that examines human behavior and manipulation, shows us how certain individuals prey on our vulnerabilities. They use kindness as a tool, apologies as bait, and promises as a way to keep us hooked. This isn't about you being weak. It's about them knowing how to exploit your empathy and loyalty. Today, I'm here to help you see through the facade. This isn't just about giving you tips or pointing out flaws in someone else. It's about empowering you. Recognizing the signs of a toxic relationship is the first step toward reclaiming your peace, confidence, and self-worth. Together, we'll uncover 5 red flags that often signal a relationship has turned toxic. These aren't abstract ideas. They're practical, real-life patterns you may already be seeing but haven't yet named. Each of these red flags will come with examples you can relate to because toxic relationships thrive in ambiguity. They make you question your reality, and by identifying these behaviors, you're taking the first step toward clarity. But this process isn't just about them, it's also about you. Toxic relationships don't only affect your mental state. They can erode your sense of self. They make you feel smaller, like your needs and feelings don't matter. Now, I want you to ask yourself a hard question. Are you ignoring the signs because you genuinely believe they'll change? Or is it because you're afraid of what life might look like without them? It's okay to feel scared. Change is always hard, especially when it means letting go of someone who once felt like your safe space. But staying in an unhealthy environment only prolongs the pain. As we go through these red flags, remember, you are not alone, and your experiences matter. The struggles you've faced in your relationship are not a reflection of your worth. Instead, they're a sign of how much you care and how deeply you've tried to make things work. But there comes a point where you need to prioritize yourself, your well-being, and your happiness. Finally, I encourage you to share your story in the comments below. It might feel intimidating, but your courage could be the spark someone else needs to start their healing journey. Sometimes, seeing someone else step into their strength is all the inspiration we need to find our own. Now, let's dive into the 5 red flags of a toxic relationship. What you learn today might just be the first step toward taking back control of your life. Number 1. Emotional manipulation. Toxic partners are experts in manipulation. They know exactly how to twist situations and make you feel guilty, even when you've done nothing wrong. Imagine this. You've planned a night out with friends after a long week. Instead of being supportive, your partner says something like, "Oh, I guess I don't matter anymore." Instantly, your excitement is replaced by guilt, and you cancel your plans to fix things. This is how they gain control, by using your emotions against you. Emotional manipulators thrive on your empathy. They know you care deeply, and they exploit that kindness. They craft their words to shift the blame onto you, leaving you second-guessing your intentions. Over time, this repeated manipulation makes you dependent on their approval, chipping away at your confidence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This wisdom is your shield. While you can't stop their attempts to manipulate you, you can control how you respond. The first step is to recognize that the guilt you feel is not yours to carry. Ask yourself, is this guilt truly mine, or is it being forced upon me? When you separate their manipulation from your reality, you take back control of your emotions. To break free from emotional manipulation, stand firm in your decisions. If your partner uses guilt to sway you, calmly but confidently reaffirm your choices. For instance, respond with, "I've made these plans and I'm sticking to them. We can talk when I'm back." This approach sets boundaries without escalating conflict, showing them that their tactics won't work. Every time you resist their manipulation, you reclaim a piece of your confidence. You prove to yourself that their approval isn't the foundation of your self-worth. Remember, their emotions are their responsibility, not yours. If you're ready to protect your peace from emotional manipulation, drop a comment. My strength. Number 2. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is one of the most dangerous and manipulative tactics employed in toxic relationships. It involves distorting reality in such a way that the victim begins to question their own memory, perception, and sanity. The term comes from the 1938 play Gaslight, in which a husband manipulates his wife into thinking she's losing her mind by dimming the gas lights in their home and denying it when she points it out. In modern relationships, gaslighting can take many forms, but the result is always the same. It makes you doubt your own reality and become increasingly dependent on the manipulator's version of the truth. One of the primary ways gaslighting manifests is through persistent denial. A gaslighter will often deny events or conversations that you are certain happened. They may insist, "I never said that," or "that never happened," even when you have clear memories or evidence to the contrary. This creates confusion and leads you to second-guess yourself. You might even start wondering if you're misremembering things or if your perceptions are off. Over time, this consistent denial can lead to a breakdown in your self-confidence, as you begin to feel like you're the one who's confused or unreliable. Gaslighting also thrives on minimizing your feelings. A gaslighter may dismiss your emotions or make you feel like you're overreacting. For example, if you express hurt or frustration about something they've done, they might respond by saying, "You're just too sensitive," or "You're blowing things out of proportion." By belittling your feelings, they shift the focus away from their behavior and put the blame on you for feeling upset. This tactic not only invalidates your emotional experience, but also creates a sense of self-doubt. You might start questioning whether your feelings are justified or whether you're being overly dramatic. This is exactly what the manipulator wants. They want you to feel like your reactions are unwarranted so they can avoid accountability. Another common form of gaslighting is the use of projection. A gaslighter might accuse you of doing something they are actually guilty of themselves. For instance, if they are being dishonest or secretive, they may accuse you of being untrustworthy or paranoid. They might say things like, "I can't believe you're accusing me of lying. You're the one who's always hiding things." This tactic not only deflects attention from their actions, but also forces you to question your own integrity and trustworthiness. Over time, you may find yourself constantly defending your character and actions, all while the gaslighter continues to act in ways that should raise alarms. Gaslighting can also involve a form of manipulation known as the small lies technique. The manipulator will tell little lies that seem insignificant on the surface, but gradually build up over time. These lies might be about trivial matters, such as whether or not they made a phone call or if they were at a particular place, but they serve to erode your sense of reality. With enough small lies, the manipulator begins to create a pattern of deceit that forces you to question everything they say. Even though the lies might seem inconsequential, they are designed to confuse you and keep you in a constant state of uncertainty. The emotional toll of gaslighting is profound. As your reality becomes increasingly distorted, you may begin to feel disconnected from yourself and the world around you. Gaslighting makes it difficult to trust your own thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, which can lead to a feeling of helplessness and isolation. You might find yourself doubting your memory, constantly seeking reassurance from others, or relying heavily on the gaslighter's version of events. This dependency is exactly what the manipulator desires, because it gives them more control over your life. They want you to be so confused and reliant on them that you lose sight of your own truth. One of the most dangerous aspects of gaslighting is how it affects your self-esteem. Over time, as the gaslighter chips away at your perception of reality, you begin to feel like you're not good enough or that something is inherently wrong with you. You may start believing that you're the problem in the relationship, even if the manipulator is the one causing the issues. The constant undermining of your reality leads to a fractured sense of self, where you can no longer trust your own instincts or judgment. This makes it incredibly hard to break free from the manipulator's control because you no longer feel confident in your ability to navigate the situation on your own. The key to recognizing gaslighting is to pay attention to patterns, not isolated incidents. Gaslighting is a slow, insidious process that builds over time. If you notice that someone consistently denies things you know to be true, makes you feel overly sensitive or crazy for expressing your emotions, or accuses you of things they themselves are doing, it's likely you are being gaslit. The first step in breaking free from gaslighting is acknowledging that your reality is valid and that your perceptions are worth trusting. Don't let the manipulator convince you that your feelings are wrong or unimportant. Stoicism provides a powerful antidote to gaslighting. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius emphasize the importance of controlling what is within your power and accepting what is not. In a situation where someone is trying to manipulate your reality, you can take control of your inner world by maintaining a strong sense of self and not allowing others to define your truth. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By recognizing the gaslighter's tactics and grounding yourself in your own beliefs and experiences, you can protect yourself from the emotional damage caused by this manipulation. In conclusion, gaslighting is a powerful and harmful tactic used to control and manipulate others by distorting reality. It can leave you questioning your own memory, perception, and emotional responses, ultimately making you more dependent on the manipulator. Recognizing the signs of gaslighting is the first step toward breaking free from it. Trust in your own reality, seek support, and remember that your truth is valid, no matter what the gaslighter says. Number 3. Isolation tactics. Isolation is one of the most insidious and damaging tactics used in toxic relationships. It is a calculated strategy that aims to sever the victim's connections with friends, family, and other support systems, making them increasingly dependent on the manipulator for emotional, social, and psychological support. Over time, the victim becomes isolated from the very people who could offer them a reality check, comfort, and help in recognizing the toxic dynamic. This tactic of isolation is often gradual and subtle, which makes it difficult to detect in the early stages. It doesn't happen overnight, but is instead a slow process that wears down the individual's ability to resist the manipulator's control. One of the most common ways a toxic person isolates their partner is by subtly undermining their relationships with others. This can be done in many forms, such as criticizing or belittling the victim's friends and family. For example, a manipulative partner might make dismissive comments like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family just wants to control you." They might even paint the victim's loved ones in a negative light, exaggerating their flaws or past mistakes to create distrust. Over time, the victim begins to feel that their social circle isn't supportive or trustworthy, and they start pulling away from these relationships. This leaves them feeling increasingly alone and dependent on the toxic partner for emotional validation. Another manipulation technique used in isolation is creating friction between the victim and their friends or family. The toxic partner may actively spread lies or twist facts to make the victim look bad in front of others. This could be as simple as telling the victim's loved ones that the victim has been untrustworthy or unavailable, causing misunderstandings and distrust. The goal here is to turn the victim's inner circle against them, making them feel alienated and unsupported. By sowing seeds of doubt, the manipulator makes it harder for the victim to reach out for help when they need it the most. At the same time, a manipulative person may restrict the victim's access to their support system by limiting their time with others. They may insist that the victim spend all of their time with them under the guise of wanting to protect or care for them. For example, they might make excuses for why the victim shouldn't go out with friends, claiming, "You're too tired," or "You'll just have a better time staying in with me." This kind of behavior is often disguised as concern or love, but it serves to isolate the victim and maintain control over their time and attention. Over time, the victim becomes more and more isolated from the outside world, unable to connect with others without feeling guilty or anxious about their partner's reaction. Manipulators may also exploit emotional or psychological vulnerability as a means of isolation. If the victim is going through a difficult period, such as grieving the loss of a loved one, struggling at work, or facing personal challenges, the toxic partner may swoop in with promises of being there for them, while subtly suggesting that others don't understand or care. "I'm the only one who truly gets you," or "No one else will support you like I do," are common phrases used to increase dependence. This reinforces the manipulator's role as the victim's sole source of emotional stability, further cementing their control over the person. As the victim becomes more reliant on the manipulator, they begin to distance themselves from people who could offer a different perspective, leading to a total isolation from meaningful support systems. An especially dangerous form of isolation is when the manipulator discourages or controls the victim's personal growth or independence. They may undermine any attempts the victim makes to improve themselves, whether it be by pursuing new friendships, developing hobbies, or achieving career goals. A toxic partner might say things like, "You'll never find anyone who loves you like I do," or "You don't need those friends. They'll just hold you back." This prevents the victim from growing beyond the manipulator's grasp. Over time, the victim internalizes these negative beliefs and feels incapable of living independently or thriving without the toxic partner. The isolation tactic is complete when the victim is so emotionally and socially isolated that they begin to rely solely on the manipulator for all their emotional and psychological needs. The emotional toll of isolation is immense. It leads to a profound sense of loneliness and inadequacy. The victim may begin to feel as though they have no one to turn to for support, and any attempt to seek help might be met with guilt or shame. This isolation breeds dependency and fear, making it harder for the victim to break free from the manipulator's control. It also prevents the victim from recognizing the toxic nature of the relationship because there is no one else to offer an alternative perspective. The lack of external support allows the manipulator to create a reality where the victim feels like they are incapable of managing their own life without the manipulator's help. Recognizing isolation tactics in a relationship is crucial to breaking free from them. Pay attention to any patterns where your relationships with others are undermined or where your time with friends and family is discouraged. If you notice that your social circle is shrinking, that you are increasingly dependent on your partner for validation, or that your personal growth is being stifled, these are red flags of isolation. It's important to remember that isolation is a tool used to control and manipulate, and that no relationship should diminish your connections with others or your ability to thrive independently. Stoicism offers a powerful lens through which to navigate isolation tactics. The Stoic philosophy emphasizes that our happiness and peace of mind come from within, not from external validation. In a toxic relationship, it is crucial to maintain your sense of self and recognize that you are not defined by your partner's opinions or actions. Marcus Aurelius's advice, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts," underscores the idea that we control how we react to situations, even when we feel isolated or unsupported. By staying true to yourself and seeking strength in your own values, you can begin to reclaim your independence and resist the manipulator's control. In conclusion, isolation is one of the most powerful tactics used in toxic relationships. It slowly removes the victim from their support network, making them more dependent on the manipulator and less capable of recognizing the toxicity of the situation. The goal of isolation is to create control through dependence, but by recognizing these tactics, staying grounded in your own sense of self, and reaching out for support when needed, you can break free from this harmful cycle and begin to rebuild your independence. Number 4. Extreme jealousy and possessiveness. Extreme jealousy and possessiveness are two of the most toxic traits found in unhealthy relationships. These behaviors, while often disguised as love or concern, are rooted in insecurity, fear, and a desire to control the partner. At first glance, jealousy may seem like a natural response to feelings of love or attraction. However, in toxic relationships, jealousy goes far beyond mere protective instinct and becomes a destructive force that erodes trust, stifles freedom, and damages the emotional well-being of both individuals involved. Jealousy in a toxic relationship isn't about protecting the bond between partners. It's about controlling the other person and attempting to maintain dominance over them. The jealous partner often believes that their worth is directly tied to the attention and affection their partner gives them. They become paranoid or suspicious if their partner interacts with others or spends time away from them. They might accuse their partner of being unfaithful or overly friendly with others, even when there is no valid reason for suspicion. The constant questioning, spying, and unfounded accusations are all signs of extreme jealousy that is rooted in the fear of losing control or being replaced. This possessive behavior can manifest in various ways. A toxic partner may demand constant updates about where their partner is, who they're with, and what they're doing. They might call or text incessantly to check in, even when the partner is simply going out with friends or attending a work event. This creates a sense of suffocation, as the person is unable to maintain any semblance of autonomy without the fear of triggering their partner's jealousy. Any attempt to enjoy time alone or with others may be met with guilt-tripping or accusations of neglect. "You don't care about me," or "You're always too busy for me," are common statements used to manipulate the victim into prioritizing the jealous partner over their own needs or desires. One of the most harmful aspects of extreme jealousy is how it undermines the trust that should be the foundation of any healthy relationship. A jealous partner will often disregard the boundaries of mutual respect and invade the other person's privacy. They may go through their partner's phone, emails, or social media accounts, searching for evidence of supposed wrongdoing. If the partner tries to establish healthy boundaries by saying, "I deserve some privacy," the jealous partner might respond with, "If you have nothing to hide, then why does it matter?" This manipulation twists the victim's sense of reality, making them feel guilty for asserting their right to privacy and justifying the possessive behavior. In more extreme cases, jealousy can lead to physical control and restriction. The possessive partner may try to isolate their partner from friends, family, or colleagues by creating tension or fostering distrust. They may go so far as to sabotage social events or interactions to keep their partner by their side, limiting their exposure to outside influences. For example, they might criticize the partner's friends or make snide remarks about anyone they perceive as a threat, from a colleague to an old friend. "They don't really like you," or "they only want you for themselves," are frequent comments used to create doubt and mistrust. As a result, the victim becomes increasingly alienated from their support system, relying more and more on the jealous partner for validation and emotional support. The underlying issue behind extreme jealousy is often deep-rooted insecurity and a lack of self-worth. The jealous partner feels threatened by the thought of losing their partner's affection and may be dealing with their own fears of inadequacy. This insecurity can stem from past experiences, such as previous betrayals, or from a general lack of self-confidence. In these cases, jealousy is a defense mechanism designed to prevent the partner from leaving or finding someone better. However, instead of making the relationship stronger, jealousy acts as a poison that erodes trust, breeds resentment, and creates a toxic environment in which the victim feels trapped and emotionally drained. One of the most harmful consequences of extreme jealousy is that it can lead the victim to question their own actions, feelings, and relationships. In a healthy relationship, both partners should be able to trust each other and maintain a sense of individuality. In a toxic one, however, the victim starts to believe that they are responsible for their partner's jealousy. They may feel that they have to constantly reassure their partner, hide their interactions with others, or limit their own personal growth to avoid triggering jealousy. This dynamic causes the victim to lose sight of their own needs, desires, and boundaries, making them more likely to tolerate controlling behavior in the hope of avoiding conflict. The psychological toll of jealousy and possessiveness can be immense. It creates a constant cycle of anxiety, fear, and self-doubt in the victim. They may begin to second-guess their own judgment, question the intentions of those around them, and feel trapped in an emotionally abusive relationship. The manipulative tactics used by a jealous partner aim to break down the victim's sense of self-worth and independence, making it easier for the toxic partner to maintain control over the relationship. Over time, this erosion of trust and autonomy can lead to depression, anxiety, and a complete loss of confidence. Recognizing extreme jealousy and possessiveness as toxic behaviors is the first step toward breaking free from their grip. Understanding that jealousy is not an expression of love, but rather a reflection of insecurity and control, allows the victim to start setting boundaries and asserting their independence. Healthy relationships are built on trust, respect, and the freedom to grow as individuals. In contrast, toxic relationships that are rooted in jealousy and possessiveness trap both partners in a cycle of fear, manipulation, and emotional harm. Stoic philosophy offers valuable insight into dealing with extreme jealousy and possessiveness. According to Stoicism, the only thing we can control is our own actions and reactions. The jealousy of others is out of our control, but how we respond to it is entirely within our power. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, teaches that we should not allow the actions or opinions of others to disturb our peace of mind. When faced with a possessive or jealous partner, the Stoic approach is to remain grounded in self-awareness, recognize the situation for what it is, and avoid allowing the manipulative behavior to undermine our own sense of worth and autonomy. In conclusion, extreme jealousy and possessiveness are toxic behaviors that can destroy a relationship by eroding trust, fostering insecurity, and stifling independence. These actions are often masked as love or concern, but they are rooted in a need for control. By recognizing these red flags and understanding the damage they can cause, victims can take steps to protect their emotional well-being and reclaim their independence. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and freedom, and no amount of jealousy or possessiveness should compromise those core values. Number 5. Constant criticism and belittling. In toxic relationships, criticism goes beyond helpful feedback. It becomes a tool used to erode your confidence. The intention isn't to help you grow, it's to make you feel like you're never enough. At first, this belittling might seem subtle, but over time, it starts to chip away at your self-esteem. For example, imagine you've just received a promotion or accomplished something you've worked hard for. Instead of celebrating with you, your partner might say something like, "That's nothing special, it's just luck." What should be a moment of pride for you is overshadowed by their dismissive words. You begin to question whether your success is truly meaningful or if you even deserve it. This pattern doesn't just apply to work or achievements, it can extend to your dreams and passions. Suppose you want to pursue a new hobby or project. Instead of receiving encouragement, your partner might dismiss it with a comment like, "You'll never be good at that." These remarks may seem small initially, but over time they accumulate, leaving you questioning your worth. Eventually, you may even give up on things that once brought you joy because they don't seem important anymore. The real issue here isn't the criticism itself, but the intention behind it. Toxic individuals use criticism as a way to diminish your confidence, making you more dependent on their approval. The more they make you doubt yourself, the easier it becomes for them to control you. Psychologically, when you're constantly criticized, your sense of self-worth becomes tied to others' perceptions. You begin to distrust your own instincts and question every decision. You may even avoid sharing your ideas or passions, fearing the judgment that might follow. This creates a dangerous cycle where the less confident you feel, the more susceptible you are to their control. Here's where Stoicism offers a path to freedom. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus taught that you cannot control what others say or do, but you can control your response. When faced with constant criticism, you don't need to accept their words as truth. Instead, you can step back and ask yourself, does their opinion define me? The answer should always be no. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic, said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This means that when someone criticizes you, you don't need to internalize their negativity or become like them. Instead, focus on staying true to who you are, regardless of their opinions. Remember, your self-worth isn't defined by how others see you, it's determined by how you see yourself. Don't let their words strip you of your confidence. If you know you've worked hard or achieved something meaningful, celebrate it without needing validation from anyone else. And if someone tries to tear you down, remind yourself that their criticism says more about them than it does about you. In a toxic relationship, their goal is to break you down. Your goal should be to build yourself back up, no matter how many times they try to diminish your achievements. You have the power to reclaim your confidence and define your worth. If you've been in a toxic relationship where constant criticism was a regular occurrence, remember, it's not about what they say, it's about how you respond. The more you stay grounded in your own self-worth, the less their words will affect you. Toxic relationships are like quicksand. They slowly pull you in until you're stuck. But recognizing these red flags is the first step to freeing yourself. Remember, a healthy relationship uplifts and empowers you, never leaves you feeling small or trapped. What red flags have you experienced in relationships? Share your stories in the comments, and if this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's continue this journey toward healthier, happier relationships together.